Hello again.
This meeting is being recorded.
Get to hang out a lot lately.
I know.
Yeah. Um, okay, sorry. I just had a message from a client. Unfortunately, she's just diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh,
She doesn't have insurance.
oh
A lot of times I have told clients that they need insurance.
no. Is she American?
No, Canadian.
Mm,
Like disability insurance or critical illness insurance, right?
okay.
Like if you're the operator of your business, you need to be covered.
Yeah.
You can't operate your business, right? So yeah. So I think we're going over the same stuff, right? The
Sort of. So this one, um, and I can pivot and do whatever. Excuse me, but I do have like a full presentation about
That's great.
authority, like authority and the culture sphere in Gene Keys, like together. So your human design authority, and then if there's time and desire, we can move into the culture sphere. Um,
Great.
Gene Keys. So it's I've done it a few times. It's really fun. But this one was more, if I remember correctly, again, there were quite a few. Like
I know, right?
this was more of like presentation, teach something, and then
Yeah.
allow for questions, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Totally.
perfect.
Totally. Okay. Oh, we got Thomas here. That's great.
Okay, do not disturb. Oh, come on. There we go.
Okay.
All my books around me.
Right. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Thomas. Hey, so good to see
Hey,
you.
Michelle.
Hello.
Thomas is one of my favorite people in the entire world.
Hello, Thomas.
As
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Hannah.
Thomas is a financial advisor as well. He's an incredible human. So I'll just say that. And
Thomas, are you in Canada?
No, I'm actually in New York City.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm in Cincinnati,
In
Ohio.
Cincinnati. Okay, we're not too far from each other.
No, no, not too far.
some, and you're in the United States right now, Thomas. You're not traveling the world.
I know I'm not traveling the world. I'm in New York enjoying this beautiful weather.
Oh, so good. So good. Awesome. Well, we've got Ashley, Mary Beth, Liz, Thomas. This is being recorded, so uh, will go out to everybody, and I'll continue to let people in as they come. So we'll get started. Welcome everyone. Hey Liz, I am so excited to bring Hannah in specifically, especially for my USA clients, friends, people that I like, uh, to talk about the intersection between human design and investing, and money, and like how we can like leverage our human design in creating more wealth. So Hannah is a new friend of mine, but so incredibly aligned. Um, and all of the people on this call right now are very special to me. So I'm glad you guys all showed up. Uh, Hannah's got a full presentation where she's going to dive in. And at the end, we'll go through some questions. And if you have questions along the way, you could put them in the chat, and I'll compile them all. So I'm going to hand it over to Hannah. If you have your human design chart, I think that would be handy, accessible to you. If you don't know your human design chart, you can go to I always just use myhumandesign.com, and genekeys.com, because we're going to talk about that as well. Yeah. I'm going to hand it over to Hannah.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Michelle, for having me. It's been so fun getting to know you and getting to interact with the different groups that you have. You have an awesome, awesome community. Super excited. So, like Michelle said, we're going to go over human design and then gene keys as well. So, if you need to pull charts, if you don't have your chart already, yeah, highly recommend that you do that. I would also love if everyone can put in the chat where you are and like just like what you do, like a little sentence about what you do. I would love to see that just so I can have like a little bit of a concept of who we're talking to here. So I heard Thomas is also a financial advisor. I'm super excited for you to be here and to hear this. And it's so powerful. It's so powerful to use with clients. So I'm really excited to share. Yes, and Michelle just put the two places where you can grab your charts in the chat there. So yeah, I would love to see where you're at currently, what kind of business you have or what you do, and put it all in the chat. And like Michelle said, if you have questions along the way, like put them in there for everyone to see. If you have a question, someone else probably has a similar question, right? So like definitely put them in there. And let's go. Let's get started. So this is, oh, did I grab the wrong one? Hold on. No, I think this is right. I think this is the right one. So this is all about your human design authority. And if we have enough time, we'll go into the gene keys and talk about the culture sphere as well. We're going to talk about what both of those things mean. You don't have to know what they are just yet. So I'm Hannah. I am a CFP. That's a certified financial planner. The other letters APMA, that's an accredited portfolio management advisor. RPC is chartered retirement planning counselor. So I've been in the financial industry, this needs to be updated, actually 18 years at this point. And I have helped a lot of people, a lot of business owners, teachers, executives, all sorts of different people plan for their future and invest their wealth. And when I launched my own business, X Squared, I was at a big broker dealer for about 14 of those years. In January of 2021, I launched X Squared Wealth Planning, which is my independent RIA. And I knew that I wanted to do things differently. And part of it was I did not fit in to the mold for a lot of reasons in my old firm. Everything was very hyper masculine, hyper competitive, hyper grind it out, hustle, just keep going. I am a mom. I have 3 kids. My husband is amazingly supportive, but he is a full-time employee as well, right? And so I just couldn't do it the way that they were asking me to do it, build a business, and I knew there was a better way. And when I left, for several reasons, I also, almost at that exact same time, found human design. And the more I dove into my human design, the more I felt seen, the more I felt like I understood me better and I could express myself and express who I really am and lean into my gifts in such a new way. So this, we call it an experiment. You're experimenting with your design for your whole life. They say it takes about 7 years to really begin to live as your true self rather than your not self, the self that you should be, that everyone else says you are supposed to be. And the further I go, it feels very, 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 very true. Just every year, every step, every continuous, intentional step down this path, things feel more like me. I feel more aligned with myself. So sharing that with everyone else has become part of my passion, along with the financial planning, investment management. So I also do human design coaching, business coaching, and I run a couple of different masterminds as well. So today we're going to talk about what is human design in Gene Keys, and specifically the prosperity sequence. Talk a little bit about type. What is your human design type? And then dive a little bit more into authority, your human design authority. Find out what it is and what's yours. And then if we can get through the Gene Keys and the culture sphere, those are really special as well. So these are two of the resources that I use heavily. These two books. Here's this one here by Linda Bonnell. Human Design invites you to participate in a potentially life-transforming living experiment and provides you with the practical tools and information you need to live life as yourself, as you, not as anybody else. And then Gene Keys, pull this one out of the pile. This guy right here was channeled and written by Richard Rudd, and it goes in tandem with Human Design. They go together. It says, regardless of outer circumstances, every single human being has something beautiful hidden inside them. The sole purpose of the Gene Keys is to bring that beauty forth, to unveil your incandescence, the eternal spark of genius that sets you apart from everyone else. So the very basics that we want to learn about ourselves, and then once you learn more about yourself, about your team, about your family, first are your type, then your authority, then your profile. If you have not done so, actually, I will grab that in a minute. This link right here, or here, I can actually do that too. I'm going to paste this in the chat. Okay. Let me grab this one and paste it in the chat. This will give you the what's like a nice report. It gives you the basics. It tells you quite a bit, truly, to get you started. But it is actually like a really good starting place if you've never had a reading done of your chart before. So if you have not done that, I highly recommend it. Then I am a financial advisor and an entrepreneurial wealth coach. I teach business owners how to make more money, how to be more profitable, how to be more in love with their business so they can make more money in a way that feels good, that feels aligned, right? So what are some of the aspects of human design and Gene Keys that I look at when coaching someone in a capacity as like, we're going to use your human design and Gene Keys to help you make more money so that you can save more for your future, for your kids, for, pay yourself more, pay your employees more, whatever the goal is. The first thing that we look at is your conscious sun, which is also known as your life's work, what you're here to do in this world. The next aspect, we're going to talk about what these mean. I'm just going to list them out for the recording. The next aspect is your unconscious Mars. So your Mars placement in your human design chart, which maps over to what's called your vocation sphere, or the way that you do what you do. The other piece of this is that it's your core wound, the core wound that you are here to heal in this lifetime, and then to turn around. What we are here to heal for ourselves tends to be what we're here to help others with as well, right? So our vocation is how we do the thing we're here to do. Next is the unconscious Jupiter placement. So Jupiter placement in your chart, and that is your culture sphere. This is who. So we've got life's work is the what, vocation sphere is the how, the culture sphere is the who you are here to help uplift in this lifetime. Also, who you're here to connect with, collaborate with, mentors that you're meant to meet. This is your culture sphere, how it draws those people to you most easily. The final piece of the Pearl sequence is the conscious Jupiter placement, and I'll show you where those are, which is your Pearl sphere, or your relationship to prosperity in this lifetime, how you are here to relate to money and to more broadly to prosperity in all areas. And then finally, the last piece I go over with people is your conscious Mercury placement. That is your marketing message, what you're here to say, what people want to hear from you. Mercury is the planet of communication. So those are the big pieces that you can get really deep on, and it can really transform how you talk about your business, how you experience your business, and your work in the world. Okay, so going through the different types, and you can put in the chat if you know what your type is. Okay, Liz, attorney, Ashley, interpreting. Awesome. Yeah, love it. Thank you, everyone, for telling me what you're doing. If you know your type already, you can put that in the chat too. You know, what if you're a generator, manifesting generator. I am a manifesting generator. Generators as a whole, between the two, you can see make up about 70% of the population. We're a big chunk, but between the two, pure generators are 37%, and then manifesting generators are about 33%. Projectors are the next biggest, 21% of the population. Then we've got manifestors, are only 8% of the population. They're pretty rare. And then the most rare are reflectors, and they are only 1% of the population. Beautiful. So we've actually got a projector in here today. Hi, Athena. Generator, manifesting generator, generator. Generator. Yep. So we've got a lot of generators in the room and our one projector. My husband is a manifester, so I have one of those in the house, and a daughter who's a projector. And I am a manifesting generator, and my son is a generator, and my other daughter is another manifesting generator. So we've got a good mix in my family here. Your type is going to tell you how your aura works, A-U-R-A, your aura works in this lifetime. Generator types, so we've got a lot of generators, manifesting and regular generators. We have a very big, warm, enveloping aura. People are drawn to us. It's like if you think of it as a picture, we're like this big, like nice fuzzy edges, big, warm, like everyone's favorite hug. People are drawn to generators. Projectors, on the other hand, if you think of your aura, it's kind of pointy. It penetrates into other people's aura. Projectors are actually here. You can see into other people very easily. And projectors are here to be guides. Projectors are not here to be the ones building and doing all the things. Projectors are really here to help guide the process. So there's a reason why, like, you have a penetrating aura and people can be a little bit off-put if you get into their space, their energetic space, without being invited. As soon as you're invited into someone's space as a projector, like, guide away. Give all your opinions, right? But if you have yes, they can't have any secrets from it. Exactly. Yes, like it's projectors have this really beautiful awareness of what's holding people back and knows how to guide people through that. Manifestors have what's called a closed and repelling aura. And they are here to be like the wrecking ball. They're here to initiate new things. They are here to carve a new path. Manifestors are here. They have the idea, they initiate, they move things forward. Generators are here to help build all of the things that manifestors are initiating. So manifestors are a smaller piece of the population. If you come into contact with one and you don't know, if you're like around someone, you're like, they're just really intimidating and I don't know why, they might be a manifestor. That happens a lot of the time. And they don't even know it. They're not trying to be, right? This is what's interesting about our aura types. We're not, it's just how we present, how our energy presents, leading in front of us. Finally, the reflectors, only 1% of the population are reflectors, and reflectors have this beautiful open aura. They reflect, they're a mirror. They reflect back everything around them. And so they're very sensitive to their environment. We don't have any in this group, so I can't, have anyone hold up their hand and tell me their experience, but they tend to be very aware and sensitive to their environment because they take in so much information from everyone around and reflect it back out. So those are our human design types. These are the 5 types of people. I wanted to show you a couple of different examples. This is me. This is my chart. This was a couple of years ago. I'm 40. I'm not 38 anymore. But this is what the human design chart looks like. Hold on. There we go. And dismiss these things that are in my way. Oh my goodness. Where's my screen? Okay, there we go. So I am a manifesting generator. Why am I a manifesting generator? Because my sacral, this is my sacral chakra, connects up to my throat. It's the only difference. Generators, pure generators, nope, that's a manifester. Generators do not have a connection from the sacral to the throat. It's the only difference. So we're still, again, still that enveloping aura. We just have a manifesting generator will have a direct connection from the sacral to the throat in some way. Is everyone familiar? Have you seen a human design chart before? Or is this brand new for anyone? I'm just wondering how much I need to go through. Brand new. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a couple pieces so you understand what you're looking at. The human design system is made up of 4 main parts. It's made up of the chakra system, the Hindu chakra system. So that's these centers are chakras. You've got the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus is over here, but it also includes these 3. This is the spleen, this is the heart, and this is the solar plexus. In the chakra system, all 3 of these are the chakra, the solar plexus chakra. This is the self center, which is also the heart chakra. This is the throat chakra, the third eye or ajna, and the crown. So that's one piece. We've got the chakra system. The gates and channels, so these lines that connect things, and these little, like this red line here that doesn't connect to anything, but it's a red line. We've got these ones that make a whole connection. These channels come from the Kabbalistic tree of life. So it's from the esoteric Jewish Kabbalah tradition. Over here on the sides, you'll see planets. We've got the sun, we've got the earth, north node, south node, moon, then we've got all of our planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and so on, down to Pluto. So this has astrology. We've got Western astrology, specifically tropical astrology, that we're using in human design. So we've got the planets involved. And the final piece, the 4th piece, are the numbers that you see. So 4.6, 49.6, 20.3, those come from the Chinese I Ching. So the Tao Te Ching maps exactly over to the 64. So we've got 64 hexagrams in the I Ching. We've got 64 gates, numbers 1 through 64. See all the numbers in these different centers. That's what those come from. So it's the synthesis of all 4 of these mystical traditions. My brain loves that shit. When someone else has synthesized something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can see how all of these play together. It's like just a playground for me, and I absolutely love it. But it can be overwhelming, right? When we've got all this, you're like, oh my God, it's so much stuff. So what do? We focus, right? So we talked about type. We talked about, we're going to talk about authority. And then we're going to talk about just a couple other things. We're going to focus on just these little bits so that it's not super overwhelming right from the get-go. The other aspect I want to share before we move on, so you'll see in some of these, so like my 38 down here, this is my root chakra. It is not a color, it's white. My solar plexus, also white, not a color. Then my crown and my third eye, these are not colored in. Those are undefined because they don't have a full channel connecting anything. So you see on each of them, like this one I have this little gate, but it doesn't connect over to its little partner over here. And that's what creates the definition. So this one is not defined. On my spleen, this is the splenic center. I do have one. I have 44. This number 44 meets this number 26. They meet together, they create a full channel. And so my ego center and my spleen are defined, they're colored in. So that's the difference. On your chart, where things are colored in, it's because you have a full channel connecting. There's an energy that connects all the way through. Where you are defined, where you have colored in pieces on your chart, that is the energy, go back to this one, that's the energy you push out into the world. That is your energy imprint. Where you are not colored in, yes, there is. I will, meaning to those channels being striped, yes, I will mention that in a second. Where you are not colored in, you are undefined. That is where you receive information from others. This is where like other people are impressing upon you. You're taking in their energy, especially in the places where you are undefined. A really, really good example is the emotional center. So the solar plexus is the emotional center. For most of my life, I have always known this. I've always been empathetic. I've always been able to read a room. I can feel the emotions around me. And what did I do for the first 35 years of my life? I thought I had to fix them. I would take all of those emotions in. I would think they were all mine, right? And I feel it. I feel the anger in the room, so I have to fix it. Or I feel the anxiety in the room, so I have to fix it. I have to make the feelings stop because I'm feeling it. And I actually feel it more intensely maybe than the people in the room, other people in the room feel it. Where you are undefined, you are going to feel that energy around you very intensely. And the lesson that I had to learn, and this goes for every center, is that I had to learn how to be, rather than a sponge, I was sponging up. I was sponging up and holding on to all the emotions I would feel in a room. I had to learn how to be a sieve instead and let those pass through me. I don't have to hold on to those. My kids' emotions are not my emotions. My husband's emotions are not my emotions, right? My clients, all of that. I let that pass through and I can see what's there. Wow, I'm noticing there's a lot of anxiety present today. Can you tell me what's going on with that? Oh, I'm noticing that, something, the energy really shifted and it got really quiet there for a second. Can we explore what's going on there? Right. So I'm not taking on that emotion, but I notice that it's there and it's information for me to help guide people if I so choose. Or I can be like, this room doesn't feel good. I'm going to go ahead and check out if that's appropriate. But just to know that it is not my job, those are not my emotions, is such a powerful thing. To know about, when I learned that about myself, that was very, very important. If we look at, I have a couple other charts here so you can see the difference. So this is a manifestor chart. This is an emotional manifestor chart. The sacral is not defined. That's what makes I'm going to show this again. A generator has a defined sacral. So everyone in this room that's a generator has a defined sacral chakra. That is the life force energy that pushes everything forward, literally creates life, literally moves life forward. Projectors, reflectors, and manifestors, by definition, do not have their sacral defined. They are borrowing sacral energy from others, and then if they're around it too much, they gotta go be in their own energy. They can't handle that much sacral energy. So when we look at a manifestor, for example, no sacral chakra definition, right? They have all these other things defined, and they've got a direct route to the throat, but no sacral. And then this one, this is an example of a mental projector, someone who only these two are defined. This is the only place where they have full channels. Everything else is just one half. And this is a good place. So Deborah, is there a meaning to those striped ones? So like here, you've got black and red. Here, this one, you've got black and red. This one, also black and red. That means there is an activation on, this is the personality side, And then this is called the design side. Also, the conscious is black, or unconscious is red. Different ways some people say different things. I do like conscious and unconscious. Conscious means you know this about yourself. Like you would, if I tell you personality traits on the black side here, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I understand that. If we go over to the red side, that might be something that you're not quite aware of. It's more unconscious. It's a body awareness. It's a spiritual awareness, not necessarily a in the mind personality awareness. So 26, for example, it's red and black. That means there's an activation on each side. This one, let's see, 26 is right here, and it's over here on the red. And actually got it also up here. So they've got 2 activations on the unconscious side and 1 on the conscious. What does that mean? It means you've got extra helpings of that particular energy. So we would go, yeah, if we were working together and looking at that, we would say, what are you tripled up on? We need to know what that energy is, because it is really prevalent in your chart. Let's see, Mary Beth. Halfway with black, then half with purple. Oh, you've got 4 that are doubled up. Yeah, so it's really interesting because there are 13 on each side, right? So there's 13 black, 13 red. You only have 26 options in your chart. There's only 26 slots to fill. So Deborah, if you've got, 4, if you got one thing, I've seen one space with 3 to 4 activations on it pretty often, right? So that's taking up a lot of energy. Or if you have quite a few that are doubled up, right? It's concentrating the energy on those specific factors. If it goes halfway, let me show you my chart again. So mine does that here. So that means like 44 is black and red. I've got the activation here, 44, and over here as well. But that's only this gate. On this side, it's red. The 26 only has activation on the unconscious side. So when you see it halfway, that means that one gate has the double activation, the other gate does not. And they're meeting in the middle. Okay, so we've got all these different looking types. And another thing that's special that I can show you here about these 3 different charts, they have different authorities. So this is the next thing, and one of the most important things you can take away from today. As a newbie, or even if you've been practicing for a little bit, most important thing with your human design is your authority, how you make decisions. So for me, I'm a pure manifesting generator. I have sacral authority. My authority is coming from my sacral. If, when you go and see on your chart, if it says emotional, so this one is an emotional manifestor. If it says emotional, that means your authority comes from your defined solar plexus. And that is a different kind of authority than sacral. This type is a mental projector. This is another authority. Mental authority comes from the defined mind. That one's very rare, but I wanted to show, we're going to look there where the type, so it'll either say pure or sacral. It will say emotional. It might say mental. For all of our generators, it's either going to be sacral or emotional. Those are the only 2 options for generators. For our projector, I am curious what yours is. Ego, no way, Athena. That's so you are special. You are so rare. So here are the authorities. And I love to talk about these because not only is this for you as a human to take in and to learn how you make decisions and to really sink into it and practice it, but when we realize that other people make decisions a different way, like, oh my God, sales changes. You start to understand people in a new way. You have so much more compassion and understanding for people when you start to, oh, you are a different being from me. You have a different system. than I do. Here's how I work. How do you work, right? It makes things so much better from this perspective. Is this, let's see, is that what's wrong with you? No, Athena, you are very special. It's very, very cool. So sacral beings, and actually I would love for everyone to say if they know, do you see what you are? Are you emotional or sacral for the rest of our generators? Sacral beings make up 29%. So the sacral authority, and this is me, it's the gut. It's a gut response that says, uh-huh, like, or no. Also comes with like a rising energy. And it's like I want to get started. Like when I'm excited about something, I'm like, ooh, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Like that's exciting to me. I can feel myself, it's like that the fire is being stoked and I'm ready to go. If it's a nuh-uh or a no, hell could be even a hell no, right? It's going to be like leaning back, almost like collapsing in on myself and like this feeling of wanting to get away. It's very visceral when you learn how to tap into it. You can feel it very clearly. Um, it responds really well to yes or no questions. It does not respond well to, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? And you're like, I don't know. There's like 47,000 restaurants or options. Like food doesn't even, when someone asks me that question, like I don't even know what food is anymore. Like I can't think of any food. If they say, hey, do you want burgers? Oh, no. Okay, do you want pasta? Hmm, that's interesting. Tell me more. Right? Yeah, we can go. So these yes or no questions help you tap into your gut response. Okay, so Deborah emotional, Michelle sacral, Mary Beth emotional, Thomas emotional. Oh, we've got a lot of emotionals. Um, Beautiful. So we're going to get to that next. So just know if you're with a sacral being, if you're emotional, then you're going to have a different process. A sacral being does best when they follow their gut. That it is so, so important. Actually just recorded a podcast with Michelle and it already dropped, right? Yeah, that it already came out, I'm pretty sure, where we talk about this actually on my podcast. I can share that if you guys want to go listen because it's a good episode. We talk about how important it is to follow the gut response if you're a sacral being, and to be allowed to, right? And by allowed to, it's really self permission, but for the people in our lives to understand that about us. Because the other most popular, right? So 29%, about 30% of people are sacral. And how important your gut health is. Yes, if you're a sacral authority, absolutely. So you can sometimes, if I really have to pee, I can't even make a decision. I'm like, I can't feel it. I have to go to the bathroom to relieve myself so I can feel my gut response again. It's very important. But there is a high majority. You can see here some people say a little bit less, but the source I saw actually like broke it out all the way between all of these. 58% of the population is emotional. That emotional authority is really, really common, right? But you're not the only ones. So it can sometimes feel like you dominate in how decisions have to be made, just because it's a bigger portion of the population. What does emotional authority mean? Emotional authority means you have to ride what's called the emotional wave and wait for clarity. The keynote, the mantra is there is no clarity in the now. There is no clarity in the now for emotional beings. If someone is trying to push you to make a decision, the answer is no. That's the only correct answer. If someone is like, you have to decide now or the offer is going away, you can be like, all right, cool. I'm going to say no because you're not giving me time to go through my process. There is no clarity in the now. Since you're all generators with this, there is going to be the sacral, you're going to have that gut, or The sacral is going to respond. But when you have emotional authority, you have to wait. You're going to feel something from the sacral. You might feel the excitement. You have to wait. You have to wait for your emotional wave to go through its whole process. What does that look like? I'm making this wave picture with my finger, right? You have to think about all the exciting things, all the highs, all the ways this could help your business, all the ways this could be a fun vacation, all the ways this could be perfect and do all of that, right? Like make things better, whatever it is, whatever this decision is you're trying to make. You have to go on the exploration of how is this exciting. You also have to go, here's our neutral line, you have to go below. You have to look at the, okay, how is it not going to work out? What's potentially a roadblock? What's a red? Do I see any orange, yellow, red flags? Here, you have to explore the down and then come back to neutral, come back to your neutral level and be able, then you look backwards. And if 70% or more was a yes, that's your yes. If 70% or more was a no, then that's how you know it's a no. You can look back and go, you know what, I see some really great things about this opportunity. I get it, I hear you. But for me, there's more that's on the negative side. And I'm gonna say no to this opportunity. It also means you can go forward into a yes and say, all right, I'm really excited. I am clear that I am a 70% yes for this. I can see where there's some stuff where I might have to, might be a little bit of a roadblock, might be a little bit of a yellow flag, but my eyes are open. I've considered that and I'm okay with that. And I'm going to move forward. So it's usually, a 70 to 80% at least is like all you need. You're probably not ever going to be that 100% gung ho, let's go. Because that's actually not correct for you. If you're at 100%, that probably means you're on the high side of your wave and you haven't actually explored the down yet. And so if you make a decision, you go on the high side, you're like, yeah, this is awesome, this is great. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes right now. I'm going to give you a down payment. I'm going to pay for the whole thing and pay in full. And then you go down on your downside of your wave and you're like, oh shit, what did I just do? I made a mistake. I need my money back. Regrets, all the things, right? It turns bad. Going through your whole wave first, allowing yourself time, figuring out how long it takes you to go through your wave, is the kindest, most important thing you can do for yourself in learning how to make decisions that are right for you. When I have a client, even a prospect, I usually try to find out this information in the prospect meeting with new clients, financial planning or coaching or anything. If I know that they're emotional, we will go through everything. I will ask them how they feel. I will ask what other questions do you have? Let's explore the high, let's explore the low. And then I don't take an answer at that moment. I say, okay, let's follow up. When's a good time to follow up so that you have time to sit in your authority? So you can make the best decision for you. Because it's that important to me to honor someone's emotional authority. And not push into a decision, right? We're not doing any false scarcity. We're not doing any of that anymore. That doesn't work anymore. Instead, we're honoring how people naturally make their decisions. The next, so there wasn't anyone in here with this, but the next most common, and it's still only 8%, is splenic authority. It's very similar to sacral authority in that it's a present moment awareness, but it's softer, it's more gentle, and it comes in kind of from the side rather than from the gut. The people I know who are splenic have described it sometimes for them, they'll get goosebumps and know oh, this is yes, I got goosebumps. That's like my sign. Or they'll have a feeling of dread, like the pit in their stomach, like dread in their body. It's like, that's a no. You might also hear, I just know that that's what's right. So when you're listening, when you're interacting with clients, again, or prospects, you can listen for these keynotes too. The sacral is, I just got to go with my gut with this. All right, that's probably a sacral being. If it's, hey, you know what, I got to sleep on it before I make a decision, or I never make a decision in the moment, I needed a little bit of time, you're probably dealing with an emotional being. And it's best to respect that rather than to push further. Splenic, I just know. I just know. I know that this is right for me. Okay. Ego. So we've got Athena, we've got one ego. I don't usually get to talk about this one because there's not very many of you. This comes from the ego. Let's go back here. It comes from this center right here. This is the ego center. It's also called the heart center and the will center. The willpower, the seat of your willpower. So this means that your ego center must be connected straight to your throat. Super awesome. That's such a cool design feature. And what it means is that you have to follow your true heart's desires and deeply held values. It's going to be a deep, like knowing, like I know in my heart. I know in my heart that this is right for me. It aligns with my values. It aligns with like what I want deep in my heart. And so that's a yes for me. If it's something that does not align with your values, then that's a big, giant flag, but red flag to not move forward. Was that the eye rolls from? Oh yeah, exactly. It's because you're so rare. They don't understand. They're probably emotional or sacral, like most likely, right? There's almost 90% chance that of those other two. So you following your heart is super, super important. You could also be self-projected, environmental or sounding board, and then lunar, the other three. So I'd love to pause here for a moment and just check in and see, has anyone played with this at all? Did anyone know about their authority before? Have they experimented at all, or is this brand new? I'd love to hear just some thoughts or questions from the room.
So Hannah, I've had the chart for some time, probably about almost a year, but I've never really played around with it. So I kind of knew my type, the authority, and so forth. Never really looked at it from that standpoint. So it was interesting, even with you talking, and I felt like I was in between emotional, and I believe the other one was ego. So I felt like that I'm sometimes when I'm making decisions, it's one of those two categories I actually fall in.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you have on your chart, is the little triangle, the little heart triangle, is it defined?
Well, I couldn't find that chart I was looking for, but it's somewhere, and so I have to pull it back up and look at it.
Yeah, look at that. I'd be curious to see if yours is defined, because if it is defined, that will play in. Like you'll feel that. You'll feel that energy. Mine is I have a defined heart, ego, will center, as well. And that's it's interesting as a financial advisor too. A lot of my clients I find do not. It's not as common for that to be a defined center. It's only maybe 30% of the population or less is defined there. So most of my clients are not, and it's an interesting, like I understand the value of things. I understand how to, that's a piece of it, like having the ability to price services, understand I should be paid for my services, right? All of that can sometimes be hard for people who don't have a defined ego center. They come to me and like, tell me how to do this. They borrow my energy in that way. Yeah, so the emotional, so we had mostly emotional. I would love to hear from someone else. Have you played with that? Was that new? Does that resonate? Yeah.
Oh, I just realized I've been off mute the entire time. Sorry. I wasn't making a bunch of sounds.
No, you were fine. All right, Deborah, you were emotional though.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like Thomas, I had the charts about a year and really haven't played with them. I did end up buying the Gene Keys book and then went, oh wow. And then that was that's in the pile to read later. So yeah, so I know I've known some of the categories, but I really haven't delved into any of them for any of them. And this is actually the first time that I actually noticed there was stripes on my Gene Keys. I was like, wait a minute, those are stripes. And anyway,
Oh, on the Gene Keys map?
is it Gene Keys that was no, I'm lying to you. It was the human design.
Yeah. Okay.
And those stripes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So much fascinating info, right? What
Mhm.
about the emotional authority piece? How do you normally make decisions? Did that resonate for you that like you need to sleep on it?
Yeah, it does. And it's funny, I don't tend to be that yes, no, right down to we'll be in a restaurant. It drives my husband crazy. It's like, what do you want? It's like, well, I don't know. And I gotta play with it. And then usually everybody at the table will order before I go, "Oh, okay, probably this then." So even like those little things, which is really funny. And I've also found that when I have made those decisions really quick, I'm realizing now that I thought because I was feeling so incredibly positive about it that that was so I'm really feeling this. This is the right decision. And now I'm realizing that, that just meant I was on this wave. I haven't necessarily checked out this wave and come back to that baseline yet. And those tend to be the decisions that I'm like, crap, probably should have waited on that, or some variation of. So I heard your podcast the other day and then the meeting the other day, and um, so I'm trying to lean into that just after hearing that a little bit and trying to play with that a bit. So
Oh, beautiful. Yes, truly, truly, this is like it's one of the basic pieces, but if you get really good at following your authority, you are like
mm.
70% of the way there.
Can I ask about the undefined heart center? You said like most of us are undefined, and I am, and it also tweaked my interest that you said it was the ego center, and also tweaked my interest that when we are open to things, and when we're open to those things, we're more exposed in some way. Can you talk to that? Would that be
Yes,
at the time?
absolutely. So that the ego center, let's see if I can open up to it. Um,
My heart defense center is undefined, and if that's my ego center, and
yes,
anyway,
the
I'm
ego
battling some
center.
egos now, and I'm like, what is happening in my world? It's like I'm noticing them, I'm seeing them, I'm trying to, I told myself, well, out myself, but on the drive in today, it's like, okay, you need to stop saying that you're noticing these egos and just start saying, I'm an ego slayer. I'm an ego. You just need to turn the conversation around. That's how how much it seems to be bombarding me right
Really
now.
present right now. Yeah. So this is also the willpower center.
Mhm.
So it's got all these different names, right? It's the seat of it's the seat of our willpower and self-esteem. It says here, so from this one, the heart center is a powerful motor that drives willpower and ego power, enormously influential forces in the world. The bedrock of society is rooted in the will to survive in community and to thrive on the material plane. The heart center has a direct connection to the throat center and therefore speaks and acts on behalf of the tribe. From the beginning, it's been the tribe that provided the support system that ensured the survival of the family, community, and nations. It established the foundations for our communal and entrepreneurial ways of life. Community organization created a safe, interdependent environment that made it possible for people to specialize, take their unique skills to great heights, and progress as groups or individuals. Our great civilizations could not have been built without the tribe's supportive hierarchical structures held in place by the four gates of the heart center. They really, what the heart center says is, I have something to prove. So when the heart center is defined, it says I have something to prove in this lifetime. I have work that I am here to do and something that I'm here to prove. Not in a bad way, but these can all be taken to the light side or the shadow side, right? With
Yeah, so if it's undefined, does that mean I don't have anything to prove?
yes, it does exactly that. So if you
Mm.
have an undefined heart center, which 63% of the population has an undefined heart center, you have nothing to prove in this
Oh,
lifetime.
somebody's got to tell my egos that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Every time, like, I have nothing to prove here. I have nothing to prove here. Like that is another mantra. Like I have nothing to prove. And the question is, am I trying to prove something? Am I trying to prove that I'm right? Am I trying to prove that I'm the best at this? Am I trying to prove something? And you'll know that there like something
Oh,
is off if you're sitting here trying to prove yourself to everyone else.
which
Right.
is my frustration.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
it's starting to kind of click.
Yeah. And so the other aspects with that, yeah, some of the questions is saying like, oh, it'll questions like, why can't I have what they have? Why can't I be as fast as them? Why can't I be as good as them? I should be able to keep up. I should be able to um, do more. I should be able to, you know, I made a promise. I should be able to do this. I should be able to be consistent. I should be able to show up on social media every single day. I should be able to, right, that willpower, that consistency. If you have an undefined ego center, that's actually not how you show up in the world naturally. You could try it and see if see if you want to, but
It hasn't been working.
right, it doesn't. That's the thing. It usually doesn't work. And so you beat yourself up. And you're like, oh, why? Well, because you're not showing up in a way that works with your strengths. You're trying to show up in a way that is like completely out of character for you. Um, so yeah, the will center is really an interesting one. And that other piece of it, so my particular channel that I have is called the channel of the entrepreneur, that attaches to the ego center. It says, I know what my services are worth, and I know how to get paid for them, and I know like where my community lies, and I know how to manipulate, not in a bad way, but like your fingers can manipulate things. I know how to manipulate the information in a way that's going to help the tribe understand that this is an important thing for them to do. And that's another space where people sometimes they just don't have that within themselves already innately, and it can be really confusing. It can be hard to price your services. It can be hard to see your value monetarily, right? When in your body you're like, I don't have anything to prove. I don't have any, I would do this even if I
I'm
didn't.
barely attached to anything there either. Like I have a heart channel of one of all of the connections. That's it. This tiny little
Right. Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there in the abyss.
Just a little bit of energy there. Yeah. No, it's a really interesting one to contemplate and to see what your energy is there, and know that, again, yeah, if you feel like you have to prove something, that's usually someone else. And you're in their energy, feeding off of it, amplifying it.
I'll mute myself now.
Yeah. Any other questions before we oh yeah, go ahead.
I just have a quick one, because my, like a couple of them are white, like no color at all. But then the second triangle that points down, and then my throat, like completely lit up with like every circle almost highlighted.
Oh wow.
My throat. I only have 3 that aren't like highlighted, but and I'm trying to make sense of that, and because I'm like I'm the one that always wants to hold hands and sing kumbaya. Like I don't feel like that's my voice. I'm like, that's crazy because I don't feel like I have one. Like physically, I don't feel like I have one. But
Interesting. Yeah, the throat center is our center of manifestation. And so it's when we speak, right? What we speak out is what we manifest. The throat center is really, let's see, it says its primary function is manifestation through communication, expressing who and what we are, what we're thinking, feeling, creating, or learning, what we know, what we want to contribute, what we have seen or heard, and can say to empower others. So it's, that's its primary function, is to communicate all these things. The secondary function is manifestation as action. Manifestation is possible when a motor is connected to the throat. So for you, there might not be a motor connected to it. If it's the mind connected to the throat is not an action center. That's like the thought and communication.
they're both like full on, like purple with like full colors connecting them with multiple things highlighted in them. So I just thought, now
Yeah.
that makes sense a lot.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, because you have what that's saying is you have a lot. You do have a lot to say. You have a lot to share. All of the gates, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gates in the throat center. So if you have 8 of those,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like there there's so much. I mean, like here's I'm showing the list of all the gates and like what they say, right? Like either I think or not, or I know or not, or I believe or don't believe, or I am or I am not, or I lead, right? Like all of those different gates say a certain thing, and it's asking you to like to communicate that, to express more. So yeah, I would be super interested to see, like, if you contemplate that a little more, what is it that you want to say? What is it that you want to share? Because your human design chart says you have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Athena, you only have G center and ego defined. So that you're a projector. So that means your heart center and your that middle diamond, hey, are connected, right? So they're
Yeah.
connected. So that means you know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Identity center is I know who I am. I have to be able to be me in whatever set I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I have that defined as well. I have a very strong sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if I have to like be not me in a place, I'm like, oh, that place is not for me.
It makes us sick then.
Yeah, yes, yeah, it does. So the ego being those two together, that the channel that you have is going to tell you, like, if that's your only channel in your chart, which it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
it is, that's
That's
very,
all.
yeah, that's an important channel. But there are other important aspects of the chart as well. It's just that that's your energy that you push out.
Uh-huh.
That's like your beacon that you shine out. Oh, Ashley, yeah, the all are defined except for the solar plexus. Um, so you have a lot of energy. You push out a lot of energy, but you receive emotional energy from others. So that's what that can tend to mean. Where you like really feel others' emotions, read others' emotions. Like that's any place where. So Athena, for you too, anywhere where we are undefined, when we heal. So like I was saying in my earlier story, like when I was sponging up everyone's emotions and taking it on and thinking it was mine, that's my not self. That's me being in my unhealthy expression. When I learned how to be a sieve instead and just see what emotions are present, every
Mm-hmm.
single undefined center holds that same wisdom. When you learn that, oh, that's not mine. That's not my
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's not me, that's not my question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not my pressure. The root center is pressure. Once you can read that, you feel it around you, but once you know it's not yours, you can then use that as wisdom.
The
Uh,
people around me and when I was in school, my classes, they just knew to say, is this yours that you're feeling? Because like I'll pick up on all the things, right? And so, and then for a while it was like so intense. I've learned to manage it now. But I just had to have a sign on my fridge, is this mine that I'm feeling? Just to remind myself, because I just have two that are colored and everything else is, I
yeah,
guess, absorbing.
you receive a lot from others. Yeah.
Which is great when I jump into a psychic reading, because it's just like, and they're like, how do you, and even some of my clients want to do massage, which I can't, I'm not allowed to mix the two. It's like really bylaws and everything. But sometimes they're like, are you psychic? How do you know that? I'm like, oh, I don't know, just done my job for a while.
This is
So
really
I
good.
gotta know when I'm in the closet, when I can come out of there.
Yeah.
So it's handy. It's handy to be this way once you learn to manage it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And similar to you, Athena, I don't have I have a lot of white space on my chart, and I have struggled with not taking on other people's energy. It's one of the reasons I stopped coaching,
Mm-hmm.
because I was coaching a lot of people and I could not manage the energy of it. Um, I I I just absorbed it all, and I became really sick and unhealthy. Um, and so I realized, like, either I have to figure out how to do this, or I have to just stop doing this right now, because if I don't, um, I don't know what's going to happen. And I just decided decided to stop doing coaching because it just like for me, it's just too much. Right. And like if I'm in a room, like I've been in a lot of events, if I'm in a room, a lot of people and they're doing like group breath work, really hard for me to manage. Right? If people are doing breath work and they're going through stuff, I am having a breakdown, basically. So I totally get
And
it.
that's where, yeah, learning how to be a sieve is so important.
It's such a good
It's so
analogy.
hard.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if this helps you, Michelle, but where I ended up, so I had a really serious concussion 4 years ago, and all my senses were scrambled except my intuitive sense. And I was like, oh my God, angels have come to talk to me. Like there must be a drug for this. Like I didn't know what was happening. And then I started to pick up on people dying all the time, like severe tragedies. Thankfully, I didn't know them personally, but only one person between me and the tragic death all of the time. And I just didn't know. I wake up in this state of like complete sort of psychic turmoil. And my son one day said, Mom, this is ruining your life. Like you need to learn how to manage this. So off to study professional psychic mediumship, I went. And I have never felt more normal in my life than the day I sat in a room with 30 other mediums. I'm like I didn't even know that was a word. Like, you know, I'm like,
That's
why
awesome.
do I feel normal? Oh my
I
God.
want to be in that room.
Yeah. Come on in,
good.
girl.
I
and
love
hook you
those
up.
people.
Yeah. They're a good bunch, but it's so important, I think, when someone is that sensitive to feel normal. Like my son will even say, look at family photos, Mom. Like you just look like an alien compared to the rest of your family. Like I have to live several provinces away just so that I'm not influenced by them,
Right.
you know. So, but you know, they're lovely people. They just roll their eyes. They don't even get what it is to live from your heart and to be that sensitive, right? So, but yeah. So if that helps you, I can hook you up. It's really
That's
helped me a
awesome.
lot. Yeah.
That's awesome. This is awesome, Hannah. Does anybody have Mary Beth, did you have a question? I didn't know if you put your hand up and she answered it or not.
No, I actually was putting my hand up because I could relate. And
Oh, okay.
this is amazing. I feel like I'm speechless. I have nothing to add. I'm just gonna listen.
So good. So I do know, Athena, you said does Hannah do readings. Hannah's got a whole world of stuff you can do with her.
Great.
And so we'll hook you up with her contact details, or Hannah, you can put them in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can drop my
Yeah.
link just to connect and to see if
And
I mean
she's got a really great playlist on YouTube that goes through so much. Like, what a great resource.
that's my Calendly link to connect to get to know you. It has a couple of questions of, you know, so I do have two separate businesses. Expansive CEO is my coaching arm. X Squared Wealth Planning is my financial planning arm. So doesn't really matter from the connection point, but you know, like there's like different offerings depending on where you are in the world. What do you want? What do you know, what are you drawn to? There's a whole ecosystem, like Michelle said. But it always starts for me. I have to feel that spark of excitement too, right? Like, is this a good connection? Can I help you? Is this the right thing? I have so many wonderful colleagues and friends, you know, where it's like, oh, this is not quite right. Like I can send you to someone else who is. But yeah, so there's that. And then the YouTube playlist. Let's see if I can grab that as well. This is where I went through. So last year I went through a master class like over the course.
This is Amazon's new money maker.
There we go. Shush. I went through trying to get to the playlist. Here we go, and get to the link. Copy that. Went through the prosperity sequence, and so this it teaches quite a bit of it as far as like what each piece means, and so that's where the gene keys come in. So powerful, so helpful. Coaching on that has been A, so much fun, and B, like just so powerful to see people get to know themselves better and to feel comfortable, like, oh yeah, this is the transition or the transformation that I'm here to go through, and also that I'm here to help clients go through. This calls it out, this spells it out. And then, like I mentioned at the beginning, talk about conscious Mercury, talk about different places where it's like, here's how you communicate it. Here's the message you're here to communicate so that your people can hear you, and like a tuning fork, pick it up immediately. And it works. I mean, it works so well that for X squared, I just be myself now, and people find me like, you're exactly who I've been looking for. Because there aren't a lot of heart-centered financial planners. There just really aren't. And bringing in human design, bringing in gene keys, people are like, I want to know about me, and I want to know how to, make good decisions with my money. So when I teach them, hey, you're emotional, and hey, your partner is sacral, see how you make different decisions. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can see, like, they definitely do that, and they definitely do that, and we make decisions differently, right? So it's almost like therapy to be able to see yourself, and if you have a partner, to be able to see who your partner is, and work together in that way. It's, again,
Awesome.
like the most important thing I think we can really dive into.
This is really good. Thanks everybody. We've gone a little bit over today, but thanks for hanging in there with us. I highly recommend you reach out to Hannah, and if you want to dive further into this, I have an app called My Human Design that I use and listen to for audios and stuff like that. I don't think it's like a one person is your guru. I think there's so many people out there, and Hannah is definitely gifted in this, and she's such a great teacher. So I think we can all learn so much from her. But yeah, just learn more, and Thomas, 6 years, you had your chart. It's time to get in there and start using it.
No, only 1 year. I did it last year.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
1 year. So I finally pulled it up. So I'm gonna go through it after we hang up and kind of go through everything. So I found my chart. So
Okay.
Awesome. I love that. It's so good to see you. I think it's so cool. And if it's something that you're like, you don't have to use it with clients either, but even just knowing, right? Like having the awareness of, oh, like we talked about the different kinds of authorities, how people making decisions, like, because that's part of what we do is, right? It's like guide them to make the best financial decisions for them. And this is one way to like really, like, I don't want people to buy a house and regret it. I don't want, it's like, okay, or whatever the decision is, like, or sell their business and regret it, or whatever. Like, let's really start to tap into your decision-making authority so that you can make the right decisions for you.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
So
We'll
good
see
to
you
meet
guys
you.
later. See ya.
Bye.